I seen a video of yours where you said that feminism has conditioned black women to view black men as the enemy.
It has. Feminism was financed by the CIA. Gloria Steinem, I think she was.
Right, yeah.
Mother of modern feminism, because traditional feminism goes back to the 1800s, right? With Susan B. Anthony and those white supremacists. But Gloria Steinem was a CIA agent. They financed her. Her first feminist magazine they paid for. The CIA brought feminism into the white household to get the woman out the house, and into the black household to turn the black woman against the black man.
I'm so glad we're having this conversation, because in the 1960s, heroin was introduced into the black communities by the CIA. And that's criminal, right? And those people are still alive today, a lot of them that did that. Why aren't they being prosecuted? Where are courageous black and brown legislators? See, they should be hunting those people just like the Jews hunted the Nazis, because those were crimes that were committed against us. So we need to have a little more awareness about that.
We took the 100-man versus the one gorilla debate for granted, bruh. Like, the CIA literally saw us laughing and having such a good time, they had to reverse the plot, bro. Now we're back to Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez, Duke Dennis and his 8 baby moms, DDG and the Little Fucking Mermaid, bro. Like, how the hell were they able to do that, bro? Like, what do you mean I gotta go on Twitter and scroll through $200 dates again, bro? I already muted the fucking word, but it keep coming up. I don't want to see it no more, bro. Like, I don't know, man. I just know Ronald Reagan, he's like clapping and having a jolly good time in his grave right now, just laughing at us.
Y'all, I just saw this on my timeline. Let's talk about it. Every show now acknowledges that the CIA actively put drugs in minority, specifically diaspora, communities in the 80s, but at what point does restitution start happening for those communities? This is what I'm talking about. When stuff starts to get put through the media, put in TV, written into shows, what it does is 2 things. It slightly adjusts the narrative just ever so slowly to where we won't notice, but generations later, there will be so many iterations in the history of what actually happened. But it also does one more important thing. It socially conditions us to normalize that this happened. People believe because it's on TV, it's said and done with, and people have been paid restitutions. That's not the case. There's documentaries and shows on the Tulsa Race Massacre and what happened in Rosewood, all sorts of things, and none of those things have been dealt with on a nationwide scale.
Respectfully, actually fuck that. What the fuck is Obama talking about? This nigga just got on national television, sat across from Michelle Obama and said, every boy needs a DL whisperer in their life.
But I'm on that new shit. They say they gon' ride me. See me never do shit. Cause they know that's the reason they gon' end up on the news clip. Audemars on my wrist. Bust down. We popping bottles like I scored a winning touchdown. Remember me dead broke. Look at me up now. I run my city from South Philly back to Uptown. Thank God all these bottles I pop. All the paper I've been getting. All these models I pop. I done sold 100,000 for my album got dropped. And I'm only 23. I'm the shit, now look at me, I'm a boss.
Come on, bitch.
I told y'all. Yep. It's what I said was so true that it's become parody now. I told y'all. CIA does this every time. Every time we get black unity, they do this. That's what he's mocking. I told y'all. This is so good. The production value of this is unreal. Like, holy smokes, you should be in Hollywood, brother.
Nah, you fucking, he under the bed, he under the bed.
Please,
This is so
I'm not
good.
like them. I don't want a revolution. I always liked the baddies in Zeus Network. I think it's some of your best work. I never turned it off. What, that? No. That was just a joke. I never actually cared about that stuff. I'll piss on them right now. You want me to? Because I will. I have a TikTok. I can use my platform to talk about 50-50 conversations, who gonna be the boys, DL niggas, the Democratic Party, anything. Just please, I'll keep us as stupid as you want. Just let me live. Please, I'll get 7 women pregnant. Bitches. I'll get 7 bitches pregnant right now and leave all of them. Please spare me. Please.
Like I told y'all before, we do not commit the most crimes. That's propaganda. We get convicted more.
A lot of white people believe that black people commit more crimes, but the truth is that black people are convicted of more crimes. Look at crack versus cocaine. Crack gets you way more time, even though cocaine is literally the purer form of the drug. More black people get busted for crack than pure cocaine, and more white people get busted with pure cocaine than crack. And this isn't an accident. Back in the Nixon administration, his domestic advisor even admitted to wanting to disrupt black communities by heavily criminalizing drugs associated with those communities. This was always about control, never about crime. The same system that used slave patrols to catch runaway slaves merely evolved into modern policing and mass incarceration. This is the system working as intended, and prisons are working with corporations in order to provide them with cheap labor, essentially slave labor. And bear in mind that many inmates are non-violent drug offenders who couldn't afford better representation. Sound familiar? Does it sound systemic? We need to boycott every corporation that profits from mass incarceration and take the money out of prisons.
I'm glad he brought that up, because it's been proven that the CIA was in fact behind the crack epidemic. They're the ones who brought it to our communities. They brought the drugs, they brought the guns, they took the jobs. We didn't know it back then, but we know it now. It's always been a systemic setup for us to fail. They wanted to kill us off, but we just won't die. But now that we know what's going on and who's behind it, it's up to us to change our mind and change our circumstances.
All right, so since we talked about the CIA a lot, there's been a lot going on. So let's just start with, these are my top 3 CIA operations against the black community. At number 1, we got to go with the Shade Room and Spiritual World. I don't even got to say much. Just go on there. All I know is they promote, they pander to women. They will literally are the messiest Instagram page I ever watched. At one point, I followed both of these pages, but as I matured and got older, I realized that this is probably the messiest, dirtiest, and just loves to like just make people argue. It like I don't like that, and I had to stop claiming negative energy. Obviously, like I say, I'll see the people's story if there's something that's actually good and not them stirring up drama. But yeah, that's got to be my number 1. Number 2 gotta be the Popeyes chicken sandwich and the Popeyes and Don Julio collab. If I tell you this is the most ghetto-ish shit I have ever seen in my life. The moment I heard that they combined, I genuinely said, no, CIA, there's no way no normal person thought about this. Who said, what do they like most? They said, chicken and alcohol. How about we combine both? And then don't even get me started on when the Popeyes chicken sandwich caught up. Like, bro, I ain't gonna cap. I ain't never felt more like embarrassed as like a black person ever. Like the way we was acting when the Popeyes chicken sandwich came out, it's just a part of black history. We got erased. People was literally beating the shit out of each other, waiting in line for days just to get a chicken sandwich. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I don't like saying stereotypes, but bro, y'all during the Popeyes chicken sandwich shit and the Don Julio shit, yeah, we definitely lived up to that shit. And then number 3, we got the demonization of 9-to-5 jobs in the black community. Some of these kids literally ain't even 18 yet and already saying like, no, I don't want to work. I want to be in them streets already. Motherfucker, you ain't even made it to high school yet. What the fuck is you talking about? Do you even know what an ACT and an SAT is yet, motherfucker? But these kids, like, they made it seem like it's just like a bad thing. I don't even think this is a black community thing. This is like a whole Gen Z thing. Like, they making this into something like bad when it's not really bad. These kids are not gonna know how to work. Most of these kids don't even want to go to school. And then you had like this one video I saw of like kids literally dropping out of like 1st grade and like 9th grade before they even like start life. You got like some of these girls starting like OnlyFans and all this shit at like 18, like the moment they turn 18. You got boys not even turning 18 already want to be in the street. Like, no, dudes talking about I want hats and switches. I don't want to work. I don't want to do none of that. They say King Bond's their role model and they don't want to work. They want to be in the streets. But that's because they demonize 9-to-5 jobs. But yeah, those are top 3 CIA. Those are the top 3 CIA operations designed to destroy the black community.
Experiments that target the black community. Number 4, the Popeyes chicken sandwich. For all of my niggas who's around in 2019, we know how the Popeyes chicken sandwich took over the world. Me personally, I'm not better than the next man. I'm a fried chicken type nigga. So when the Popeyes chicken sandwich came out, I had to go indulge in it. But the CIA is so damn smart, they knew dropping the Popeyes chicken sandwiches in limited quality would run the black community into shambles. Niggas were getting shot, stabbed, beat. I know we saw the Popeyes worker employee outside fighting for her life smoking that damn cigarette. He had to make 147 Popeyes chicken sandwiches, and she had to make 57 more spicy. Number 3, 20v1s. 20v1s expose everything that's wrong with the black community. I think the CIA dropped 20v1s just to lower the brain capacity of the average nigga. 2 notable 20v1s that personally killed the black community, ruined us, is the 20v1 where grown women were trying to talk to Lil RT. Yes, a 5-year-old. My niggas nuts ain't even dropped. All trying to talk to a little boy. Name another racist doing shit like that. And this other one I'm about to say is even worse than the first one. The Fleece Johnson nigga. Fleece Johnson is a street nigga. He's not even a celebrity. And his claim to stardom, his claim to fame was touching niggas' booty. That's what we're doing in 2025? That's what we're doing in the black community? Giving admitted rapist platforms? The CIA cooked us with these, I ain't gonna lie.
Next on the list, we got Forex trades. So you telling me back in 2020, all it took was a couple niggas in a tight-ass turtleneck screaming acronyms in an Airbnb to convince you was about to obtain generational wealth. I have yet to see a single nigga who was posting the Forex trades with over 150 to their name today. Y'all were really sold over a couple pictures of some rented cars on the gram, bro. This set us back at least 25 years, bro. Come on, gang. And last but most certainly not least, we got Shannon Sharpe. So here we have a successful black man, one of the greatest NFL players of all time, an NFL Hall of Famer, one of the highest paid analysts on ESPN, and he threw it all away, all for some 20-year-old snow bunny yeeks. Bro, he was paying this girl $25K per cheek. Mind you, this is the same nigga that refused to pay over $30K for his own daughter's wedding. Shannon Sharpe could wipe his ass with $30K, but now he ended up paying $50 million to old girl.
For $50 million, I go to hell. For $50 million, I go to hell.
And it's funny, because niggas on his own show was telling him stop playing in the snow and stop talking to these little ass girls. And all this nigga did was laugh. Like shit was funny. Like shit was sweet. This nigga is not stoic.
The roosters are coming home. My sisters, everything you did is finna come back on you because they have people in place, government-wise, to show you we used you to destroy the village. Now we really have no use for you no more. Your daddy ain't there. Your husband ain't there. Your son is raised wrong. Your daughter is watching you twerk. You have done what we wanted you to do well in destroying the village. The father of your child is probably in court with you over nothing. We have used you to the same way, like back in the day, Eve ate from the forbidden tree. This is the same thing. You ate from the forbidden tree. You went and used a system that destroys you to destroy your family. And now, with this administration in, they have no use for you. Remember all the female black mayors and everything that was happening and all like that? Yeah. They ain't got no use for that shit no more. I see the girl. We are the most educated. Yes, they sold you a degree that ain't finna be worth. Yeah. You who have aged out and fell for the sucker shit in destroying your village, your family, and yourselves.
If you consider yourself to be a black feminist, you need to know a little more about this woman over here on the left, Miss Gloria Steinem. I did do a video on Miss Gloria a few years ago, but I think I'm going to reiterate it again today, seeing as the number of black feminists possibly doubled or even tripled, and repetition deepens the impression. The title of this article did get cut off on the screen, but it is called Black Feminism, the CIA, and Gloria Steinem. What follows is a fact sheet about Gloria Steinem's operations against the various social and political movements in America, particularly her role in creating a hateful and virulent strain of black feminism that attacks black men while partnering with the white establishment. Let's read a little more. Gloria first came across the radar of black men in 1978 when Steinem put a book called Black Macho and the Myth of the Superwoman on the cover of Miss Magazine, the magazine which she controlled. The book was written by black feminist and activist Michelle Wallace, who literally came out of nowhere. In the book, Wallace called abolitionists like Harriet Tubman and Sojourner Truth ugly and stupid for supporting black men. She called black revolutionaries chauvinist macho pigs and advised black women to go it alone. But pay attention to this part. Gloria Steinem said that Wallace's book would define the future of black relationships, and she pushed hard to make sure that the book received massive publicity. And don't we see this happening today? You might not be calling Sojourner Truth or Harriet Tubman ugly and stupid, but you sure are calling your fellow black sister a pick-me or desperate or thirsty when she stands up for black men. Y'all shame, y'all deflect, y'all project guilt on those who want to stand up for our men. You're literally doing what she intended from the beginning. Let a woman today stand up for black men and all of a sudden she's a misogynist and she hates women. I digress. What's the bottom line? The bottom line is the so-called black feminist movement was created and manipulated by the CIA from the very beginning. The only difference between black revolutionaries and black feminists on this issue is that the black revolutionaries know they were infiltrated and manipulated, but black feminists are still unwilling to admit that they were infiltrated and manipulated, largely because they are highly invested in the hateful brand of black feminism. As a result, the Hate Black Men movement has become more than just a political point of view. It is now a central part of the culture of black women, and this fact has led to the destruction of the black revolution and the complete distortion of black relationships, and the CIA had a direct hand in creating this situation. Gloria Steinem knew what she was doing when she put that book on the cover of Miss Magazine. Remember what she said earlier? She said that that book would define the future of black relationships. She pushed hard to make sure that book received massive publicity, and she used someone who looks just like you to push that narrative. If this doesn't change your mind about feminism, honestly, I don't know what will.
Bro, when you actually learn how the CIA was moving in black communities back in the day, it's not hard to believe that Shiesties, podcast equipment, Black Twitter, Galaxy Gas, Henny, the Don Julio, Popeyes, it's not hard to believe that their PSYOPs and CIA operated. Like, as many of us know, in the 1980s, they were pumping crack into black communities, but you don't know why. A quick rundown is that Ronald Reagan wanted to fund an illegal war in South America. He wanted to fund the Contras, which were fighting communism, and he wanted to stop the spread of communism to the United States. But the problem with that was, at this point, it was illegal. We weren't supposed to be sending money to them because they were doing all type of heinous activities on their own already. So what was the idea that whatever the CIA came up with? Let's allow those freedom fighters in South America to sell cocaine in South Central LA to raise money, and that's exactly what they did. So by turning a blind eye to these Contra sympathizers, they allowed them to bring in cocaine to raise money. And it's funny because they either knew that they were bringing cocaine in and didn't do anything, because how are you the CIA and you don't know people bringing billions of dollars of cocaine into the United States, or they knew. Both are just as bad. So now while they're bringing cocaine and dropping it in South Central LA, you got these two talking about just say no. All the while they know drugs is coming in. He had to have known. So in 1986, he drops the Anti-Drug Abuse Act, and what that does is establish mandatory minimums for crack cocaine. So 5 grams of crack is going to get you 5 years minimum. But cocaine, you need 500 grams to get the same sentence. And it was interesting because crack and cocaine are basically the same thing. The only difference was that one was inhaled and found more in black communities, which was crack, and cocaine was found in rich white communities. So why is the same drug getting 2 different mandatory minimums? It doesn't make any sense. The only difference was who was using it. So while the CIA is allowing the Contras to dump all type of cocaine in black communities, it's turning into crack because that was what's making these dealers money. And that's what was most prominent in the black community, was crack. So now Reagan and his CIA goons are turning a blind eye to whatever is happening in the black community while establishing mandatory minimums. So you got all these black men that can't afford to eat, can't afford to pay, any bills, can't afford to support their family. They're selling crack to survive. And what's happening? They're getting picked up by the police and getting 5 years minimum. So now, all these black fathers getting removed from the household. Percent of children living with only their mother. Look at how black people moving. In the 80s, fat ass spike. And we only now just returning back to these levels. So what's happening? All these kids growing up without a father. And you already know how that goes. So now you got even further destruction of the black community as they begin to pull all these black men out of their homes and place them in jails with mandatory minimums. Now you got these children growing up without fathers, right? And a lot of these children are seeing that, ain't no father in the home. That's why a lot of women now, they believe that they don't need a man in their life because they seen their mom, hold down the house with no man in the house. You know what I mean? Like, there was no man in the house. So of course they're gonna believe that there's no need for a man. So when they hopping on these podcasts talking about what do you bring to the table? We don't need a man. It's because of the CIA, and that's what I'm trying to show y'all. And so when they start promoting BS like YN, Popeyes, Don Julio collab, podcast, it's they doing their job. You know what I mean? Whatever Reagan left on behind, they just kept it rolling. And they just, like they said, they running laps. They running laps until y'all understand how the CIA moves. We're not gonna change nothing. You see what I'm saying? And I love how TikTok we starting to wake up, because they've been doing this. You know what I'm saying?
Black Americans are a little bit in the dark about CIA operations and COINTELPRO on social media, especially TikTok. Let me explain to you some of the ways and means in which they will infiltrate, they will subvert, and they will dissipate any black energy. And a lot of the COINTELPRO operations started with the FBI, but a lot of it started being taken over by the CIA. And one of the groups that does this is the Special Activities Center, or SAC, and that is also done in coordination with the PAG, or Political Action Group. These are the people who are your content creators who come on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, it doesn't really matter, and they pretend to be somebody that you could trust. That's their job. They are trained to do this. Since the freaking CIA, I'm going to tell you, before I deployed to Afghanistan for the last time, this is back in 2011, they had courses, from what I'm hearing, they had courses about social media usage. Even back then, they were looking at our social media pages. So if they're looking at soldiers' pages, what do you think they're doing on social media right now? You know they're there. What do you think they're doing? I'm showing you right now the Special Activities Center. They are the ones who are infiltrating your social media spaces. They do covert and paramilitary operations, mostly covert. But the Political Action Group, they take covert political action. If you know they exist, if you know they have a damn near unlimited budget, you don't think they're on TikTok right now? Really? The question I want to ask the black community is, especially in Black America, is what sort of budget do you think these people are working with? Do you think that they're working with peanuts? Is that how you think this works? And they've been active since 1947 until 2016 as Special Activities Division, or SAD. But then it transitioned into the Special Activities Center from 2016 to present. So they are still operating right now. And if you need an example of how the CIA can do this to black people, but even a black country, look at what happened with Haiti. This is an article from the Washington Post from 1996 about Haitians believed linked to slaying, later got U.S. aid, CIA report says. So CIA, they funded this guy in Haiti back during the 80s and 90s named Emmanuel Constant. He ran this paramilitary group in Haiti called FRAF. They assassinated Haitian politicians to destabilize the country because the U.S. government had a problem with Haiti. Didn't like any of the presidents for whatever reason. And so they paid these people on the inside of Haiti, people who were informants, people who were psychos. Emmanuel Constant, he violated a bunch of women all over Haiti, and he took people's lives. He terrorized Haiti, and the CIA was paying him to do that. They were paying a man to destabilize the country, and largely it was working. They did that to a country. Do you really think they aren't doing that on TikTok right now? What do you think is easier, trying to take over a country and destabilize a country, or paying some content creators more money than what they've seen probably in their entire lives, with the promise of instant growth? Which do you think is easier and more efficient? Think it's easier to spend $1 billion trying to take over a country, or spend a couple of million paying off a few people? And like I said, man, General Felipe Biambi and also Emmanuel Constant, they assassinated the then Haitian Justice Minister, Guy Mallory. They assassinated him, and they were going around beating up people, finding people who were for the Haitian people, who were for democracy. Because again, the CIA didn't want people to have any faith in their country or their government. That's why they kept assassinating members of the government. That's why they kept putting Emmanuel Constant out there, so that he could shoot down any idea of Haitian independence. They wanted to take over Haiti. They wanted Haiti as a freaking colony, even back then. So they implanted all kinds of subversive ideas. It wasn't just Emmanuel Constant and Biambi. If they're paying them, that's what we know of. If they're openly saying this, listen, if the CIA revealed this openly, that means that they were probably doing a lot more than what you think. And I know for a fact when I interview many Haitians who were around during that time, when I made my deep dive into this, they were saying people were gaslighting us. Oh, this ain't true. You're just paranoid. You got schizophrenia. You got bipolar. You're dumb. You just don't want to see a strong Haiti. They're being gaslit. Because there's no way a guy like this and all this happens without there being some initial gaslighting. Because the Haitians would have rose up. They rose up during the Haitian Revolution. You think they wouldn't have rose up to stop this guy? But now you see why he was so successful. He was CIA backed by the richest country on planet Earth. And a bunch of propaganda was already laid out there, the same way you're seeing on TikTok right now. CIA.gov. That's where this article comes from. Look at the web address right there. CIA.gov. The CIA is openly putting this out there. It's an article from the LA Times from February 20th of 1990. Documents indicate CIA spied on Martin Luther King, wanted to discredit him as black leader. Let me ask you a question. You really think that's not happening right now? They did that to MLK, and it was harder to do it because you didn't have social media. You had to actually hire people, train them, and send them out. But now you have social media where you can just discredit people on the fly, or not just discredit people, elevate certain people. You don't think that's happening right now? So again, all these people who are saying you're paranoid and everything else, everything that I've claimed about Black TikTok, the stuff that I've claimed is far less extreme than the stuff that's already happening. That's already happened, right? It's far less extreme, except we didn't have social media back then, and the budgets that the U.S. intelligence agencies have right now didn't exist back then. It wasn't as big. So if their budgets have ballooned since then, and on top of that, they have social media. And you have whole courses from Full Sail University about how to use drama, how to use a current issue, how to press on a hot button social issue within a community, or even even from the outside of a community. They teach that at Full Sail University in Florida right now to civilians. What the hell you think the CIA is teaching their operatives? And this is why I keep telling Black America, stop believing the bullshit, man. Most of what you see on the internet, a lot of people who come on the internet are fake as fuck. Very few people that I've seen are actually genuine. A lot of the top creators, I peek right off the bat. These guys are informants, man. There's one guy who's a Black creator who's in the Air Force. You may know exactly who I'm talking about. You know, he wears like dashikis sometimes, and it just comes across so performative. But he's in the Air Force, and you guys trusted him. Guys, the Air Force is one of the biggest intelligence gathering apparatuses that we have in the U.S., and you trusted that guy? See, if you ignored a clear op like him, then it doesn't matter that I put out this video. There's a reason why I have a pattern of being right about this stuff. When I say something sounds fishy, it turns out to be fishy. I said, this sounds kind of like a plant, and it turns out to be a plant. Just because you want to ignore things and have ignorance doesn't mean I'm going to ignore the muscle memory of my training.
This is King Judah 23 of the Judahlyfe Podcast, and you watching the Empire Network.
This'll be